You know when you don't actually know anymore? I feel like that kind of sums it up. Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. And as per usual, before we launch into things, this video is sponsored by our honeys over at Surfshark, and also by me and Elijah Schaefer from Slightly Offensive. Because for those of you who don't know, we have a new live daily show launching on September 9th, which is only like a week away now. That's actually coming out really quick. The show is called You Are Here, and I would love it if you could go and click the link in the description to subscribe to our new contentless channel, which won't be contentless for long. As you guys know, it means a lot to me, and I am super excited about this, and we have put a lot of work in, so subscribe if you want to, or don't if you don't want to, but the link is there for your enjoyment. And lastly, if you so desire as well, feel free to subscribe to the email list on my website, so you never miss me posting my weird content. All relevant links will be in the description box. This is how you keep a Sydney from crying. Anyway, so I know a lot of you watch my content, even though it is sometimes quite depressing, because you find it humorous and you find me funny, which honestly makes me really happy. But lately I am finding it increasingly difficult to be funny, even though the whole world is a joke and I don't know what the hell is happening 90% of the time. I mean, I keep watching these insane TikToks and they don't even make me smile anymore. It's more of a sad, sad grimace.
I want to show you the email I sent in response to my teacher saying they won't be using my pronouns this semester.
People who identify as a lexi-gender fall under the gender fluid umbrella.
Okay, this is a really wonderful question, and I've been wanting to address this for a really long time because he, they lesbians are so fucking valid.
A legit question. What is a non-binary parent called by their children?
Hi there, non-binary dad. My kids call me Nini. There's a few options. I've heard of Ren, Rennie. Zaza was on our list too.
I hate it here. But seriously, I try to sit down to make content and I just feel like the world is completely ridiculous. And it sticks in my guts as well, to be completely honest, because I want to cover meaningful topics and there are many things that I would love to discuss, but I feel like I can't, because if I do, then I'm going to get put in timeout by Daddy Big Tech. Or they'll just wipe me off their platforms. That works too. I also know that there are plenty of you out there who feel the way that I feel. And so rather than making you laugh, sometimes I just want to sit down and let you know that being sad or feeling frustrated with the state of things doesn't make you crazy, because I feel exactly the same way. Like we're on a rock in space, spinning out of control, and even aliens don't want to talk to us. On that note though, I do hope that my mothership comes and picks me up soon. I'm scared. So that's what we're going to address today, the state of the world and the multitude of feelings that go along with that, because you guys know how much I love talking about feelings. But before you once again enter the Thunderdome, let's hear from our sponsor, Surfshark.
Yeah, being catcalled even though I'm not attractive. 76 genders.
What in the actual hell are you two doing?
Tapping into the hive mind for feminism. We need our talking points. What are you doing?
Oh, just trying to summarize the benefits of Surfshark.
We can help with that. Surfshark is a VPN. It does not subscribe to Feminist Island. It's very bad. It helps people bypass country restrictions and get around censorship. Even has its own ad-free private search service. Doesn't keep any logs. Wait a minute. It doesn't keep any logs? How is it supposed to force men to pay alimony if it's not tracking what they're doing?
Because that's not what it's used for. It's for people to protect their private information online and avoid censorship.
Whatever. If you click the link in the description, you'll get 83% off and 3 months free.
Hey Sid, did you want to get a... Nope. So I personally feel like 2020 was the boiling point for many countries around the world, but even in the last couple weeks, it really feels like something has shifted. I couldn't tell you what exactly, but it kind of feels like people have hit their saturation point when it comes to the media and government and the justice system and the education system, especially the education system. Like, why is this a thing?
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you
Scare the fuck out of them.
Geip's radical philosophy is prominent in the teaching in his own classroom. Geip goes on to say he's not the only teacher at Intercom High School who shares his radical beliefs.
Like I have an Antifa flag on my wall, and a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. And I addressed it to everyone because I didn't know who it was, and I was like, well, this is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable. So if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you. Like maybe you shouldn't be aligning with the values that this is antithetical to.
I think it's even fair to say that trust in the medical system has also taken a significant hit. I mean, I read these psycho stories about nurses and doctors saying that they refuse to help unvaccinated patients, and I'm just like, what is happening?
More than 75 doctors staged a walkout to protest the number of COVID patients coming to the hospitals who have not been vaccinated.
And from what I can see, just in myself, in my friends, and my loved ones, and in people that I interact with on a daily basis, or people that I meet out in real life, it seems that this saturation point means that people are getting angrier and angrier, and if they're not getting angrier, then they're feeling dejected and powerless. The last 18 months has genuinely felt like Groundhog Day, and you have these politicians who tell you what to do, and I have to follow it, we have to follow it, regardless if they're right or wrong.
As I said, we are very comfortable with free speech. We are very comfortable for people to exercise that free speech. But when that's done in contravention to the public health order, putting the rest of the public safety in jeopardy, police will not tolerate it.
Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am. New York will become the first American city to mandate coronavirus vaccines to attend indoor businesses.
And the best way to keep you safe and to keep Delta out of Queensland is to build as quickly as possible a regional quarantine facility.
Government mismanagement is nothing new, and I think that we can comfortably say that that does extend back for decades and decades and decades. But again, with this shift, it feels like the things that our governments and politicians and media, etc., are subjecting us to is a new level of crazy. And I'm not talking about the sniffles here, obviously that is a huge part of it, but I am talking about the virtue signaling and the language policing and the absurd spending and so on and so forth.
Over the weekend, Democrats voted to ban gendered language in House rules.
Melissa, the Biden administration is unveiling a $1.9 trillion economic proposal.
One of those recommendations was to, quote, remove aptitude test barriers that adversely impact diversity.
Senate Democrats are racing to pass a massive $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill before the end of the week.
Separately, the Pentagon is now reportedly considering lowering fitness standards for female recruits.
Why is it okay to let people steal this much with no consequence? Why are there homeless camps in the street? Why are these people still rioting without charge, mind you? Why is this? Most of you probably already know this or think this because you live on planet Earth and have been exposed to it, but all the togetherness and all the humanity appears to have gone out of the world in the last little while. Particularly in the last 18 months, and particularly actually in the last few months, it's gotten infinitely worse. So much so that I don't know which values we even universally share anymore as people, because so many have collectively lost the plot. And I say that not to sound overly dramatic or hyperbolic, but genuinely because there was once a time, at least in the United States, when everyone appeared to value freedom regardless if they were on the left or the right. And that was the one thing that linked this country together, the one thing that brought people together to vote for, you know, this politician here, that politician there, the things that dictated how people felt about the state of the world and gave Americans a common goal. And even now that seems to be gone. And as for other countries around the world, obviously I don't live there, so I don't know, but I am assuming, at least in part, that you too have experienced this shift between not only the left and the right, but just a general shift in humans, just the way that we interact with each other, the way that we treat each other, and the expectations that we have of each other. I look around and it seems like so few people have the ability to think independently. Thank you, CNN and university. So few people acknowledge how evil government has become, or maybe it always was evil, I don't know. So few people have the ability to look into the future and see that the path that we're on does not lead into roses and rainbows. We are not, this path is not a good one. They don't question the media. They don't question the things that they see and hear. And they have such low expectations of themselves and their politicians and the government and all these institutions that they accept the bare minimum. We're living in a period of time where Australian families separated at the border have to hug over plastic barricades, and nobody seems bothered by this. Someone obviously didn't get the memo that this is not, in fact, a zombie apocalypse. Wait a minute. Let's go kill some children! A mother in Chicago allegedly had her parental rights stripped because she refuses to be vaccinated. Apparently, there are now lesbians who don't like women. What? Apparently, now we're shooting rescue dogs to make sure people stay in their homes and do not break COVID restrictions, letting newborn babies die for the same reason.
Shocking revelations about the deaths of 4 babies. The newborns were denied life-saving heart surgery because it wasn't available in Adelaide, and they couldn't be transferred interstate because of travel restrictions.
South Australians are expected to put signs on their doors that let others know that they're in quarantine. Protests are happening all over the world in response to vaccine passports. France gets an honorable mention because they seem to be putting in a really, really good effort here. Although you could argue that there are 2 things that the French are really good at: making bread and protesting. In this clip, it looks like London police are now using attack dogs on anti-vaccine passport protesters. Aussie police are using tear gas, capsicum spray, and I believe, but don't quote me, rubber bullets against anti-lockdown protesters. And let me remind you all again that Australians do not have guns, they do not have weapons as a general rule. Americans and allies are dying in Kabul because of government ineptitude, including more than 13 American troops. The Taliban now has billions of dollars worth of equipment, including Humvees and guns and drones and what have you. Most of which, just by the way, they'll probably use to shoot their own citizens, but also Americans and allies. And the best part is, the mainstream media is suggesting that this is all the fault of American citizens. What in the actual fuck? America is currently being run by a man with a clear neurodegenerative condition. I guess you could say that it's kind of like Game of Thrones in the White House at the moment. Good times.
You can do better than that.
Will not conduct a hasty rush to the exit. We'll do it responsibly, deliberately, and safely.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not.
Do you see any parallels between this withdrawal and what happened in Vietnam with some people feeling?
None whatsoever. Zero. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of a embassy of the United States from Afghanistan. It is not at all comfortable. Likelihood there's going to be the Taliban overrunning everything and owning the whole country is highly unlikely.
Don't you bear some responsibility for the outcome if the Taliban ends up back in control and women end up losing the rights?
No, I don't. Do I bear responsibility? Zero responsibility.
Canada is being run by a walking, talking vagina.
You deserve a government that's going to continue to say, get vaccinated. And you know what? If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
No, that doesn't make any sense, Sean.
We're still carrying on with the idea that men can get pregnant. We're now even showing videos of them trying to breastfeed. I mean, it looks like we've taken a break from blaming white people for everything, so I guess that's good. Oh, Sydney. You sweet summer child.
Some more news. The results of the 2020 census just came out, and for the first time in American history, the number of white people went down. Wait, what? That's an interesting reaction to that.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
Ah, yes, I see it now. Depression. I look at all of this and I wonder how we got here. And I know a lot of people in the comments are going to say, Sydney, you know, how could you not think that we would get here? And these are obviously people who've been around for a little while longer than me, so you've seen this happening over a longer period of time. But I never thought that we would get to a point where the lunatics would full-blown be running the asylum. So that's interesting. Like I said, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic about any of this, and I'm positive that things in days gone by have been just as insane as they are now. Anybody who has ever read history knows that History has been a psycho time. But as of late, something definitely feels different. Maybe that's just a Sydney thing. Maybe I'm just too sensitive, or perhaps it's because I work in this space and I'm subjected to it all the time. But maybe other people feel that way as well, that there has been a collective shift, and I don't think it's been for the better. I don't think this is for the better. I am noticing that people are getting angrier and angrier, me included to a large extent. I mean, I'm so exasperated by things that are going on in the world, particularly in Australia, just for example, that I'm even over here crying on my co-host show.
There will be no removal of masks to consume alcohol outdoors. So you will no longer be able to remove your mask to drink a cocktail at a pop-up beer garden on a footpath as part of a pub crawl.
I find myself getting a little emotional looking at all of this, and I don't want to cry on your show, but like it makes me like really upset because sorry, Elijah. Because it's like my home and it's just like so jacked right now. And I hate it because my family's stuck there too. Sorry. It's like hard to be mad all the time when like you're just watching all this stuff go down and you know that there's nothing you can do.
I guess it's hard not to look around and take stock of what's going on and look at everything that's happened in the last 18 months, but also since Donald Trump got into office, because I definitely feel like that was a catalyst for much of the insanity that we're seeing. It's hard not to look at all of this and feel a sense of sadness that we are here. Paul Joseph Watson has a series, if you will, called Modernity, where he effectively compiles stories from modern society that really show how far things have gotten. And they are depressing, not because they're not well made, they're definitely well made, but because it's hard to watch them and not feel even angrier at how far from us all of this has gotten. I personally feel super let down by our leaders. I feel let down by our fellow countrymen, and I definitely feel intense rage towards the media for exacerbating much of the existing issues in society. I definitely blame them for a lot. And I guess if I'm being honest, I feel a sense of anger towards myself for not doing more or not knowing how to instruct my followers and the people who listen to me and who, you know, participate in this community. I feel angry, I guess, in a way that I don't know how to direct them to get involved because, like, what do you do? I don't know. What do you do? I think a lot of this stems from the fact that the institutions that we were brought up to believe in, that we were taught to believe in, have totally abandoned their populations, or they have tried to control us, they've used us, they have lied to us. And again, I know that none of this is new, but again, it also just feels different this time. The social contract has been broken. We no longer trust each other. We no longer trust the institutions that are governing our lives because they've lied to us time and time and time again. And it feels like every single time we turn around, someone or something is trying to destroy or control our way of life, whether that be in the form of disrupting families or institutionalizing people or forcing radical wokeness down our throats. And in saying all of this, I'm not just talking about the sniffles. There is much more to life, and there has always been more to life than the sniffles. I know I don't do these brain dumps very often, but I definitely am at a point where I just wanted to express this and hope that in some capacity other people are feeling the same way and find this cathartic in some way as well, to have somebody perhaps articulate back to them what they've been thinking and feeling so that they know that they're not alone and that there are people out there who think similarly to them and who are on their team. In saying all of that, I also reconcile that there are people out there, people who are also watching this video, who don't feel like we do, who aren't angry and who aren't feeling dejected and downtrodden and mad at politicians. And that is okay too, even if I don't get it. So in saying all of this, I just want to be clear that this is not me giving up. This is not me throwing the towel in. I just hit the saturation point recently and I just wanted to talk about it. I will, and I have every intention of coming up with a bunch of ways that people can do something in their local communities to take action against the things that they don't like, because I think that that will go a very long way in ameliorating these negative feelings that many of us have towards the state of the world. action often makes you feel a lot better. When you know that you're getting something done, when you know that you're achieving something, when you know that you're actually making changes for the greater good, that can be very cathartic. I know that it comes across as really cringy and cliche and overly emotional, and in a lot of ways I'm annoyed that the left has monopolized feelings like this so that expressing them like this comes across as cringy and cliche and whatever. But I really do want people to know that they are not alone and that feeling the way that they feel is mostly justified. Their rage in a lot of ways is totally justified, and I can absolutely relate to it, and I hope that we can all collectively be mad for a second and then get off our butts and do something, because it's time. Sorry this wasn't a very happy video. I promise you that we will be back to our regular scheduled viewing after this. I have a couple of videos in the pipeline that I'm really excited to make, and I do hope that they will be more humorous than this one. Like I have said, and I know I'm turning into a broken record, I just wanted to reiterate these points because I do think it is important once in a while to take stock of the fact that we are collectively all feeling the same way. So there is that. It's also kind of sad when you think about it. The only funny part of this video is the weirdest Surfshark ad that I've ever made in my life. And on that note, before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder that you can download Surfshark VPN using the link in the description. When you do, you'll receive 83% off and 3 extra months free. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Elijah and my new show using the link in the description. And if you want my email list on my website, which I will start using soon, I promise. Now, open the floor to all of you. What are you all thinking and feeling about the state of the world? What's going on in your countries? Are you feeling enthusiastic about things? Are you feeling like me and feeling a little bit dejected? And where do you think we're heading? As always, if you like the video, hit subscribe and the thumbs up button. If you want to leave a comment, feel free to do so. Just be respectful about it. And I will see you guys next time.